we're on a houseboat.
Hello, welcome back to part 2 of Honeymoon videos. In this video, we are breaking down our trip to the Netherlands. In the first portion of our honeymoon vlog, we went to Belgium. We spent 2 nights in Bruges and then 4 nights in Antwerp. And in this video, we're kicking things off with 1 night in Rotterdam and then 4 nights in The Hague and 5 total nights in Amsterdam. So there's a ton to cover. We visited a bunch of Dutch cities. We went to see Gouda for the cheese market, Delft, home of Delft Blue pottery, and then we saw tulips at Keukenhof, and we went to see the Tailor's Museum in Haarlem. So we did a ton of stuff. It was a packed trip. We spent 2 nights on a houseboat in Amsterdam as well. So it was amazing. It was the best honeymoon, and yeah, I'm just so happy to be able to compile these memories and have them to look back on and to share. So thank you guys so much for watching, and yeah, we'll get into it with Jake's birthday. Woo, woo, woo.
Happy birthday to you!
In case you didn't pick up on it from my beautiful singing, this was Jake's birthday, and we were officially leaving Belgium and going to the Netherlands. We departed from Antwerp, took a train ride, and by lunchtime, we were in Rotterdam. This is the largest port in all of Europe, so there was a lot in the area to explore.
Looks like blue.
For dinner, we tried some Dutch snack foods at a food hall and found out that we were drinking pop that has dairy in it.
Milk pop. What?
Then we had a little bit of ice cream for Jake's birthday. The next day we went to Gouda. This is the part of the trip that I was maybe most excited for. Gouda holds a cheese market most Thursday mornings between April and the end of August. Carts filled with cheese are pulled in by horses, and then farmers make deals with cheese buyers. All the cheese gets weighed. It is just so interesting to watch. We got to even guess how much Gouda was in the back of that truck. Spoiler alert, I was wrong. There was also a market going on during all this cheese festivity, so we got to try some delicious Dutch food. Apple flaps and oliebollen and mini Dutch pancakes, and they were super delicious. They also had a cheese making demonstration, and then we got to take some cheesy photos.
Say cheese.
And then we bought a baby Gouda wheel of our own to take to our hotel. And while we eventually found out we did not win the cheese weight guesstimating contest, we had the best day. The next day, we visited the Maritime Museum. While the museum is probably the most famous for the girl with the pearl earring, there was a lot of other art that we really liked. They had this painting called the Bull. They also have the goldfinch. It was definitely worth a visit. We walked around the area a little bit before we made our way over to the palace where the King of the Netherlands works.
You think they would turn the statue the other way?
We had an afternoon beer flight and then decided that we were going to walk to the beach. This is about a 50-minute walk away from our hotel.
We made it to the beach, guys. Wow. Boats and stuff. Holy buckets, Jake. It's like a real ocean.
I'm not really sure what I expected, but it definitely wasn't a beach with shells and jellyfish and people out windsurfing. I was like very shocked and very, very impressed. It was gorgeous. It was super nice when we got there, but we picked the perfect time to have dinner because it randomly downpoured. And then just as fast as the rain came, it cleared up and the sunset was beautiful. The next day we hopped on the tram from The Hague to Delft. It was about 30 minutes. Delft is home to Delft Blue, which is the white porcelain that's hand painted with blue glaze. And then we ended our night with some fries and pretzels at a local brewery. The next day was Tulip Day. It was about an hour from The Hague. We took train and bus to get there, and we actually ended up going on Mother's Day and the last day of their 2023 season. So it's definitely the end of the season, but still you can kind of imagine how it must have looked in full bloom. Crazy. And while some of the tulips were definitely past their prime, there were still tulips that were in bloom, which was fun to see. A worker there did tell us that the best time to visit had been a couple weeks prior, so I think mid-April is the ideal recommended time to visit Keukenhof, but I think anytime you can get there while it's open in the spring is definitely worth a visit. Our last morning in the Hague, we went to a coffee shop bookstore, and then we also had Kapsalon, which is Döner with cheese, and it is just a 10 out of 10 meal. Highly recommend. The very last thing that we did before we left town was going to see the Peace Palace. They did have this cool monument there that is the Peace Flame, and I believe it's decorated with a rock from every country in the world around the outside perimeter, so that was really neat as well. We got to Amsterdam for dinner and had Dutch pancakes. Then we did a local candy taste test.
Action.
Okay, so we're trying these licorice, black licorice that are kind of salty. They're apparently like popular in Scandinavia, and I'm a little bit nervous. So here's my live reaction. This one looks like a key. It feels like those things don't go together. I don't know that I'd want another one. Do you like it?
No. Is anyone?
I took it a lot slower this next day. We had some delicious breakfast pastries. I also had an awesome nap, but we got right back into it the next day. We went to the National Maritime Museum. The building itself was really cool because it used to be the place where they stored all of the stuff for building ships. It was really interesting because it taught a lot about the history of shipping in the Netherlands. There was even a replica model of the kind of ships the Dutch West India Company used in the 1700s. They also had the Royal Barge there that you could look at, and an exhibit on whales. We checked out a brewery that my sister recommended after the Maritime Museum, and then we went to Vondel Park. And we walked by the Lego store on our way home. The Lego store really popped off with this one. We got the little cheese guy, the tulips, the mill. I don't know what the parrot has to do with anything. Lit, look how cool. Oh, that's not here. Anyways. On the roof, and for our last days in Amsterdam, we are staying in this houseboat. This day we did another day trip to Haarlem. We wanted to check out the Taylor Museum, which had a lot of really interesting things ranging from like preserved mammoth hair to rocks to art. It was a natural history museum that was in the house of the founder. Very cool. And of course, we checked out a brewery, one that we actually found out about from a beer flight in our last video. And then we headed back to Amsterdam because we got to check into our houseboat. Hey! See, we're on a houseboat, as you can see, because that was outside and now we're inside. This is where we're staying for 2 nights, and this is the houseboat that we're on. Oh. Jake and I tried to troubleshoot this beforehand, and we were like, you're going to start by going into the bedroom, and I immediately went the wrong way. Anyways, follow me. This is the houseboat bedroom. Outside of the window, you can see water because we're on a boat. A boat. We're on a boat. Oh, okay. That's all in there. There's a bathroom in here and a shower there. Here's the door of the boat again. That's where I came in from.
There's Jake in the mirror. There's the boat kitchen. As we can see, the kitchen is nice, but
The view.
the view, wow. A little water, a little more water. No. Wow. Okay, here's the guest book, which is really funny because some people were like, I had a lovely stay, and other people wrote down like their full passport numbers. Hilarious. And here's the other part of it. Table, couch thing. There's a TV in here and an espresso, so the essentials. Woo! And then there's a patio that we're supposed to be quiet on because neighbors. Thanks for coming on our houseboat tour. Thanks, Jake, for filming the houseboat tour. After waking up aboard our houseboat, we headed to land for breakfast before we got back on a boat into the canal.
Alright guys, and we're going! And its nickname is the Lover's Bridge because legend says that if you kiss your loved one underneath, your love will last forever.
That afternoon I just kind of lounged about the houseboat before we set off on our quest to get a magnet for Amsterdam. We try to get a magnet for every city that we're in, and yeah, we ended up going to the floating flower market to find our magnet for Amsterdam. Perfect magnet! We checked out Wilderness, a little shop that sells plants and coffee. My sister recommended it and said it was one of her favorite shops in the world, so of course we had to pay a visit. We ended our night with bitterballen, which is a kind of Dutch snack food, and then got fries from one of the really hyped up places. We spent the last night of our honeymoon hanging out at this cozy little bar that was across the canal from the houseboat that we stayed in. And that is a wrap on our honeymoon content. Thank you so much for watching.